Hey everybody, I hope you're all having a great day so far today. My morning's been pretty nice. It's actually really beautiful outside today. After yesterday, the low was 70 degrees, so now it's not quite so hot. Oops. But yeah, last night was pretty exciting. Unity had its GDC uh, presentation, and it really talked about some things that I'm actually pretty excited for. It feels weird to be excited for a game engine, but I am regardless. Um, First of all, they talked about their scriptable render pipeline, which is just pretty much what I expected, but I'm still can't wait for it to come out because it will be really nice to be able to have full control over the render pipeline now that I actually know how it works. And the second thing I'm really excited for is something called their entity component system and the C# job system, which really is finally tying multi-threading into the Unity scripts themselves. So the main kind of tenet behind it is that you should separate your data classes from your logic classes, which we pretty much already do. I have yeah, everything in this data namespace is what holds everything, and it doesn't really have much logic behind it. So I don't think it will be very painful at all to upgrade our game to use the new entity component system, and we'll get just like multi-threading baked in, which should help a lot with any optimization in the future. It'll be really nice to be able to run scripts in another thread, for instance, and things like loading. I've always wanted to try to make that multi-threaded, and now it will be pretty easy to do. So that is supposed to be coming out, both of those, in April. So April will be a pretty busy month. I think in terms of upgrading the game, I'll probably hold off on any of this code cleanup until that comes out, because like most of this that I want to do will just be kind of tied into that. Yeah, so it should be pretty fun. Maybe before I just dive right into this project, I should do a small project to kind of get a handle on how it works, but it'll be really nice. And another, like, we can upgrade our messaging system to use the entity component instead of being object oriented. And I think that would actually fix some bugs with it, like the weird thing where we can't call a message while it's iterating through the message. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. But let's go ahead and get to the project at hand, I think. And so we're going to do more work on shaders today. Still, this plane is a little weird. I'm not sure how much I'm going to worry about it, because if we look at the wireframe, the vertices are much farther apart than anything in our game will be. Because if we look, even an egg dino has really huge faces, but they're minuscule compared to this plane. And then our terrain is not going to have this big a face either, so yeah, I don't think this plane is actually going to help much with debugging. So I think I'll turn it off because it's just going to confuse me. Strange, when you turn it on and off, it seems to affect some of the lighting. Anyway, so right now, if we look in the game, I think, are we set to deferred mode? Yeah, and there's no cookies in deferred mode, so if I switch this to forward, well, it still won't work because the game's not loaded correctly, but yeah, in forward rendering you can see the cookies. If we switch to deferred, it's basically as if there is no light cookie. So we want to try to add cookies in. Also, is deferred mode ignoring this light? Well, probably because it's in cookie mode. If I turn this off, yeah, now it displays. So I think spotlights work fine because spotlights are in cookie mode by default. Let's turn this back to just shaded. I guess I could put a different cookie on the spotlight just to test. I think I could just use the... Oh no, this won't work. I need to have a different one. Just because the format is slightly different. So I'll just duplicate this and call this the spot cookie. And apply. And then for spotlight, let's just put the cookie in here. Okay, yeah, and it'll look weird until I press play. Don't really... Oh, you can see a little wobbly in the lines right there. If I turn off the other lights, maybe it will be a bit more noticeable. Yeah, so you can see it changing a bit. It is... It is weird that it just turns off. That doesn't seem right. I think the light strength should attenuate. Do we have that problem with point lights? I'm not sure. Like there is a bit of... Like for some reason the rim lighting gets stronger. Oh, you know what could be the issue? Do I like the rim lighting, let's see, on the material light. I think, yeah, I call this every time. And instead I should do something like this. Float 3, get ambient light. So it needs to know these. Oh, that's not gonna work, is it? Float. So the issue is because I'm applying the ambient lighting for every light and forward rendering, so I need to instead only return something here if we're not, I mean, if we're in the main pass, so. Um, oh, this is the deferred shader. Okay, I was trying to figure out, don't remember what this is. Yeah, so the forward base pass right here. So we just gotta check if it's defined. If defined forward base pass, then we'll return this function. Otherwise, we'll return, oh yeah, no curly braces for preprocessor directives. Otherwise we'll just return 0 because there'll be no ambient light. And I guess I can use the same function here, but okay, so this should... Yeah, so now the... Oh, I need to reload. Or, yeah, play the game so that the textures are working. Yeah, but now the rim light should not get brighter for every light that's turned on. That doesn't necessarily fix our spotlight problem. But yeah, now when we go out of range, there's no sudden flash of the rim lighting getting stronger. And the lights definitely attenuate as you get farther away, so I think it looks good. So the issue is when we have the spotlight on. Oh, I turned the plane on by accident. Seems to work fine, but when... Oh, well no, that's better. It's just the issue is when I go like that, it just flashes on and off. Seems like there is a little blending, but it doesn't affect everything. I wonder if I turn off this cookie, this default cookie, if it would work. Yeah, that does look better. Maybe it has more to do with the cookie we were using. Yeah, definitely, because probably the cookie needs to have a fade off at the edges. Okay, well that's interesting to keep in mind. Anyway, now let's try and implement directional cookies in deferred mode. So to do that, we have to work in the deferred shader. And we'll just need to add in some more code here to deal with the directional cookie. And I think I'll just look in Catlight Coding and see how they do it. Yeah, we don't have shadows now, so it should just be this. Looks like you just read from the cookie. It's kind of like what we did for the spotlight. Okay, so first you get the UV of the cookie. And this time we don't have to attenuate based on distance, so we don't need to divide by the W. Okay, and then we just take the text to debias again to make sure that there's no edges at the end of the cookie. Or artifacts, I should say. Okay, so that's relatively simple. If I change this to deferred mode and when we play the game, we should see some okay, I don't see any cookies actually. Should look like this in deferred mode. If I switch between deferred and forward, let's see. Yeah, they should look the same. Oh, you know what? It's because in the shader, I don't have a directional cookie as a multi-compile. So that code that I added was never running. Okay, that doesn't look right either. Oops, I didn't want to open that. Looks like now the direction is wrong. Yeah, we'll need to inspect this more. So we need the world position. That's just past 10. Is it another issue where the world position is calculated differently in the vertex function? Let's look at our code. Or did I spell it wrong? Well, no, it didn't look like that. I think this code is running, but the color is wrong. Alright, so let's look at Catlight coding itself and see what it says. So I'll look in the deferred lights. And we gotta find the cookie. Select cookies. I already have these light texture 0, which is where the cookie is stored, and Unity world to light. Find directional cookie. Use the matrix to convert world position to light space coordinates, which we do. Then use as a sample the cookie texture. Okay, yeah, this is, yeah, we know about the texture 2D bias. Is this our issue? I don't think so. I think the camera is in HDR. Yeah, if we don't have it on, it's just white. Maybe the frame debug will shed some light. So yeah, it's trying a mesh. And drawing the depth texture. Still wish I could see, but... Okay, so now that's the first light. I turn this one on. Oh well, we don't have cookies supported there either. This one should work though. Okay, so yeah, this is the the mesh for the light. I was hoping that it would show us the light cookie just so we could see. Although I guess that's the spotlight and not the directional cookie. Yeah, directional cookie is on. Hmm. Somewhere I got my math is a little messed up, it seems like. Because, yeah, this is the directional cookie. It's not the ramp. No. If I take off the cookie, it works like normal. But it's strange. It's like when in cookie mode, the components get messed up. What happens when I move its position around? Let's put this down here. Yeah, it's like it's treating it like a point light. Okay, apparently you have to have both open at the same time. I guess that makes sense because it has to render. Yeah, so directional cookie, it doesn't have the point light mode on. Maybe... Oh, I think I know what's wrong. It's a logic error on my part. Yeah, here, only if defined directional do we do that. So the reason it's treating it like a point light is because this code is running. It doesn't set directional and directional cookie to true. So if we do that, it should work. Let's try one more time. Yeah, there we go. And main camera, yeah, it is in deferred mode. If I switch it to forward, it should look nearly the same. Oh, deferred doesn't have rim lighting. Okay, the reason that is because when I added that new function, I forgot to also return something if we're in the deferred pass. Or defined deferred pass. We would also compute this function. Yeah, so there it goes. There's a little bit of difference there because deferred mode doesn't have anti-aliasing. If we turn off anti-aliasing and forward rendering, you can see that they look basically identical. All right, so that's a directional cookie. I can mark that as complete. And now we just want to get point lights. And point lights are a bit more complicated because it uses a cube map, which is kind of a texture that's wrapped around like a cube because obviously point lights shine in all 6 directions. So let's see how it is. I think if I just have it on, let's call this point light instead of light 2. Then in deferred mode, this is going to act like a normal point light, I think. Actually, okay, it's going to be kind of strange. Because again, it has to do with the point light, or the point variable not being defined, so the code doesn't really know where to, or should I say, like what parts to compile. So I have to have this point cookie variable in there, or point cookie name. It's not really a variable. So let me see. And in cat-like coding, we'll look at their code. So we have point cookie. Oh, right. And so if it's just a normal point, there could be a shadows cube, which is why that's an else and not else if, but... But again, we're not dealing with shadows right now, and I don't know if I'll ever support screen space shadows, so we might not ever need to add that code in. So for now, I'll just do, I think elif is the way you do else if in this code. We gotta define point cookie. We can change that a bit. And I'll clean that up a little bit. That's strange. Why didn't this... Oh, I see. I should move this down. There's not really any reason to have a separate attenuation variable. Now that I think about it. Because we just store it in the light itself. Yeah, so yeah, that was a big problem with deferred spotlights. Probably if I had tested contracting the angle in deferred mode, I would have noticed that. But anyway, that's so for spotlights, we just read the cookie pretty much the same as a directional cookie, but for a point cookie, we have to deal with a cube map. And so we need to declare that up here, and I'm going to look and see what the syntax for that is. Yeah, the sampler cube, and it has an else if here because we only need one of these, or it's either a cube or a 2D texture. So I can just delete that from there. And the text cube, you sample it the same, except you actually care about the z coordinate, obviously. That's pretty simple. I guess we don't have to check if the cookie is negative. Maybe the text cube handles that itself. Okay, so let's look in forward mode and deferred mode. Yeah, it looks the same. If I move the point light a little closer so we can see some of the cookie. Yeah, that's perfect. And again, if we turn off the anti-aliasing, they'll look exactly the same. Okay, well that wasn't too painful after I realized about the preprocessor directives, what was going on there. So I think we're ready to finally tackle shadows. And it's not as complicated as you'd think because Unity handles a lot of it itself. Trying to think of a good way to test it. I think I'll turn off the cookie just to keep it simpler. Although they should combine pretty easily. And then I'll want to change this to... I'm not sure if I want hard or soft shadows. I'll do soft. And then we'll want to make sure that all of these meshes receive shadows. Okay, yeah, so they cast and receive. Okay. So obviously right now if I play, there won't be any shadows. Or I should turn back on the directional light. Yeah, because right now we can see that right here there should be a shadow on top of the foot because the egg is covering it. And the basic way that Unity handles shadows is it's kind of cool actually. We might be able to see it here. It looks like it's not actually drawing this. Oh yeah, right here. Okay, must not. I was hoping that I'd be able to see the shadow map, but you can like basically the way that it works is Unity treats every light as a camera and then renders the scene from the camera's point of view, creating a depth map for each, or looking at the scene from the light's point of view for every light, and it renders a depth map from that light. I think that's what this is, but I can't, it's not actually showing anything, which is a little annoying. Okay, so it's passing through draw calls right now. But and then from there it can transform all the shadows from the different light depth maps to a camera depth map, and then you can add them on top of your objects. So maybe it doesn't work because I'm not using the correct preprocessor directive, because I don't think I actually need to sample the shadows, and especially for forward rendering, because that Unity let me see, this Unity light attenuation actually samples shadows. Oh, I think this is the issue. I'm passing 0 to that right now. So yeah, it's not looking at it, but I'm surprised it's not rendering any shadows. Maybe that's because my Toon shader doesn't supply shadows. So let's look and see what I'm missing. Probably need to compile shadows as well. Alright. I think I'll just start here and walk through the tutorial. Yeah, so it's basically explaining shadows, so we don't need to, we'll just use the default settings for now. Yeah, so shadow mapping is what we're trying to do. It renders a depth texture for every shadow, kind of like this. Yeah, so it's just explaining a lot about shadows, but that's all fine. I just want to support it. Okay, so I need to have a shadow caster pass. That's what I was looking for. And basically, we really just return 0 for the shadow. That's pretty simple. So it'd be on our material shader. Oh, yeah, we don't need that stuff. Oh yeah, we don't need another sub shader either. I copied too much. And we can just use this. I don't even think I need to have a different include file. Although maybe it would be nice so I won't have to copy this to every shader that needs a shadow caster. Yeah, so let's think ahead and go ahead and do it. So I'll just call it Toon Shadowcaster, although there's not really going to be anything specific to our Toon shader in here, I don't think. I should just copy the whole thing, because we have to do that define to keep the compiler from loading this file twice. So yeah, Toon shadows included. I think of my other ones I call it, yeah, Tactical Lizard Tamer Toon, so I'll do that as here as well. Yeah, so all we do here is we just take in the position, multiply it by the Unity matrix, and then that's just passed to the fragment program, and for there we just return 0 for everything, because the only time I could ever see you wanting to change this is if you have a semi-transparent object, and when it's transparent you wouldn't want to actually return anything for the shadow. But I think this Toon shader is not going to have any semi-transparent geometry, so I'm not going to have to worry about that. Then in the... Okay, I've got too much files open. And it's frozen. Oh yeah, so I just wanted to... Is that... Okay, well, that's nice, Unity. Thank you. Yeah, I forgot. This objective clip pose is more efficient, so Unity just upgrades it for you. I don't know why it reordered my files up here. I guess I can get rid of outlines and the terrain for now. Okay, so yeah, here on the Toon shader, we'll just need to include the Toon Shadow Caster. And I think that will be enough to fix any issues. So now if we look in the shadow render job, yeah, so now we can see shadows from the point of view of the directional light. And then here it's transferring the shadows from the directional light into camera space. You can see some ugliness there. Actually, is this enough to get shadows to pop up in forward mode? Not yet. Even though, yeah, we are still rendering shadows. Yeah, I have a feeling it's not going to look too good because you can see the... Unless this is just an artifact from the screen being small. But no, you can see some weird banding going on there. You can probably fix that in Unity. Or by messing around with Unity's values for shadows. But yeah. Also, you want to turn off anti-aliasing for when you have shadows, because it's going to also create artifacts. So probably the reason that it's not taking shadows into account already is because I need to define another variable here. Let's If we look at cat-like coding, we can see what the variable is. Yeah, the shadow screen. Or wait, let's see. Light only. When the main direction of light cast shadows unity will look for a shader variant that has the shadow screen keyword enabled. So we have to create two variants of our base pass, one with and without the keyword. We can do it like this. And this means it's a little different. Well, basically Unity will compile a version of the shader with each of these possibilities. And when you just have an underscore like that, then it just means it'll compile with shadow screens on and then with no options on. That's interesting. It says shadow coordinate and you need to compute forward shadows. Okay, so that has to do with we're not fully supporting them yet. Sorry, there's something in my eye. I'll be right back. I don't know. I didn't see anything, but a couple of years ago, I got a kind of bad scratch on my eye, and every once in a while it kind of flares up, and just basically it just feels like there's something in my eye, but there's nothing actually there. So if I rub at it during the stream today, I do apologize for that. But anyway, okay, so we've got to do some more work to fully support shadows. I think we're on the right track. Okay, so you have shadow screen. Okay, that's interesting. I thought Unity Light Attenuation actually took care of shadows. Maybe they're just showing how it works. Actually, that's what I thought. So yeah, they're just telling you how everything's working. But we can actually just use this Unity Light Attenuation. But I need to add this. Where was it now? The transfer shadow and shadow chords to our vertex and fragment arrays, right? Our structures right here. And everything got, for some reason, everything got rearranged here. Okay, so this should be. I'm gonna rearrange this to have all the text chords at the bottom. So shadow chords, and then we just pass the index of the text chord we'll store this in, which will be 1. that correct? Yeah, shadow chords. And then here, it's transfer shadow 3, I think. If I'm using that code correctly. Oh no, we have to call transfer shadow in the vertex program. So where do we actually store this? Oh, okay. Shadow chords goes in the fragment, actually. Yeah, I'm getting this confused. So this would be 3, and then transfer shadow we call in the vertex function. So transfer shadow. And is that it? Okay, we actually give it the output variable. Expected token at shaders line 21. Okay, so for some reason I don't need a semicolon on that. Subscript positioned in compute screen pose. No matching parameter function at tune material lighting. Okay, I guess it doesn't like that I called that vertex. It wants me to call it position, which I guess we can do. Where else do I need to change that? I know that Unity assumes that you call your variables certain names, which is kind of annoying from just a programmer point of view because it's like the naming shouldn't really matter, but I think that's just because it's a macro and not an actual function. Do I not use the vertex anywhere else? Probably in... actually, it doesn't look like I do. I just need the world position and then the UV. Let's subscript shadow chord to Unity compute for shadows. No matching 3 parameter function. 76. Okay, so I should just pass that in. Okay, so now at least there's no errors. Oh yep, we've got shadows for sure. Look, on the feet you can tell. But it looks pretty bad. It's like dithered. And there's shadow swimming due to the way the camera moves. At least we can see the shadows for sure. Like that, there's a clean line right there, and it covers up the feet. Let's see if we can clean up the shadows a bit. We'll go to quality. That doesn't seem to do anything. Shadow projection stable fit. That's a little better. Okay, let's look and see. I think that there's some ways to fix this. It's interesting. I don't know what that is coming from. Could also be some of these features. Okay, that says turning off the shadows. I don't want it full strength, but well, I think we will right now just to see what they look like. That doesn't seem to affect it at all. Okay, I thought I set that to hard shadows actually. Still get some weird little dots everywhere. Okay, yeah, we can see that. Okay, so let's read on in the tutorial to see if we can get a little glimpse about what might be causing that. Collecting shadows. Yeah, dealing with that. Hard for soft shadows. Yeah, so theoretically soft shadows would be better. The cascades is like at closer values. You can see it clearly right here. Yeah, here's an actual view. You can see it renders this area with higher resolution shadows and then farther away with lower resolution shadows. We can actually, oh yeah, I forgot you can see that in Unity. Thought it was up here. That's like turning off layers. Oh, maybe it's because I'm not in scene mode. Oh yeah, shadow cascades. Although, of course, we just have objects here, so they're going to pretty much all be in one cascade no matter what. And it's actually based on the camera, not the editor view. If we move that, this should... Oh, I think it would change color. It doesn't, though. Is that part of our issue? Huh. I actually looked at that. I'm not sure what overdraw means. Maybe, okay, I think it's like it's something's been rendered on there more than once. Anyway. That has to do with baked lighting. If we go back to quality, we have 4 cascades on. That looks a lot better, actually. I think we still have some artifacts. I want to keep that at -10. Yeah, so this is unacceptable for sure. Maybe, if I change the orientation of the light, it doesn't really affect it. Still, there's still these issues. Let's see. Yeah, shadow swimming we definitely don't have. I mean, we definitely don't like. Okay, the shape of the cascade bands depends on the shadow projection quality setting. The default is stable fit. In this mode, the bands are chosen based on the distance to the camera's position. The other option is close fit, which uses the camera's depth instead. This produces rectangular bands in the camera's view direction. This configuration allows for more efficient use of the shadow texture, which leads to higher quality shadows. However, the shadow projection now depends on the position of the camera, and as a result, when the camera moves or rotates, the shadow maps can change as well. So what do I have on right now? Quality. I have stable fit, but I think I still see swimming anyway. I just want to pull it out. There we go. So if I rotate this around. Okay, so I don't see any swimming in game. Oh, I just saw some there. But still, this is not gonna work. And I don't think it's because of my tune lighting, because I messed up the attenuation. No, because I store the attenuation here. So it's just like before when we did the distance. And here, we take the attenuation from the light and we just multiply it by this light strength. And then we add that to the light dot, so that just changes the, oh yeah, down here. Wait, what is this? Last light tune. Oh yeah, that's okay. That's this multiplier to get the index. Yeah, so the attenuation only affects this light strength, which affects the specular size as well as the light dot. It's just an offset. So it's not, and it worked fine when I had shadows turned off, so. Let's see, if I turn this off, and how do shadows look for a point light? I actually don't know if we support this yet because the shadow map for a point light is more like a cube. Yeah, it doesn't look like it because we can see down there that it's getting light when it should be shadowed. What about, I just want to see if I can get those artifacts on another type of light. Oh, okay, that's just the cookie. I was like, oh, do we have that bug again? I should just turn this off. Okay, let's see. What's this? Oh, those fade shadows. I don't think this has to do with it. Yeah, this is like dealing with occlusion and baked shadows. You might want to do that because like when your camera moves far enough away from the model, it does fade out shadows, so we probably will want to add that, but I don't think that's what this issue is. Oh, you know what? Let me see. I think something could be caused by, since our camera has a very low field of view, we have to get it pretty far away from the game objects to actually see them. And maybe that is messing up with the cascades to give bad quality. First, let's go with very high resolution. Well, the distance is 150 anyway. Turn off cascading. Okay, no, it's still swimming. Anti-aliasing and disable that. Maybe we should smaller resolution, because that would fade. Oh, it doesn't seem to help much. This makes the artifacts smaller. Oh yeah, it's not going to show because the game was not visible. So here it's rendering the shadow for each object. And that actually changes. So the problem, like here, everything is relatively smooth, although it's extremely low resolution. And I think that this has to do with the camera being so far out. Maybe if I change this distance. Doesn't seem to help much actually. Okay, when it's that small, it just doesn't do shadows anymore. Okay, in game, I don't see any problems anymore. Although it's not shadowed because there's nothing on the feet. Okay, maybe our issue is this shadow acne. Yeah, numerical precision limitations. One way to prevent this problem is by adding a depth offset when we render the shadow maps. A low bias can produce shadow acne, but a large bias produces another problem as the shadow casting objects are pushed away from the lights. So are their shadows as an effect. The shadows will not be perfectly aligned. This isn't so bad when using a small bias, but too large can make shadows seem disconnected. It's also normal bias. Okay, yeah, so right now we're having a lot of issues. I thought I messed around with those, I didn't seem to do anything. It doesn't seem to affect. When I turn the strength off, I mean, that's a little better, but I don't really want to have to do that. Because when you lower this, you start seeing the feet again. Or you start getting light on the feet. Maybe it doesn't update in play mode, which is a little annoying. Let's put it at max. No, that doesn't do anything at all. Oh. And I actually want soft shadows. I don't know. I keep on editing that in play mode so it doesn't save. Okay. That's slightly better, although still not correct. Was that soft shadows? Is that what's causing it to look like that? Yeah. Oh, I don't understand. Do I have to support the bias myself? I thought that that was just part of the Unity light attenuation. Maybe I need to do that in the shadow caster. That might be it. Yeah, okay, so that's why the biases aren't doing anything, because I'm not using them in my shadow caster. Okay, that's silly of me. Where is it? Okay, I think Unity's going to tell me to use clip position again. Okay. And then we apply linear shadow bias. Yeah, I should have realized that. Okay, and then for normals, okay, we've got to get a better structure. Okay, no issues. What do you know? That did it. Okay. So that looks a lot better. The normal bias is making a big difference. There's some weirdness going on right there. I don't like this edge. But yeah, this is the only bad thing about shadows is they never look perfect. You can still see some problems right there. Let's test out Unity's default settings. Yeah, so 0.05, 0.4, 0.2. Okay, yeah, this looks pretty good. There's still a little wobbliness. It might be better. I don't know. We could have it so that objects don't like self-shadow. And that's probably the better thing to do with this capsule actually. So we just turn receive shadows off. And so now it's just based on the light. Although of course they won't receive shadows from other objects. Which is probably not what we want, now that I think about it. So if I put egg dino, move it forward. Okay, so there's a little bit of shadows. Yeah, so it is definitely casting a shadow on the capsule. Although I don't... When I move it, that's a lot of swimming. I do like the way that the specular fades out when the shadow goes over it, though. Okay, so we're getting shadows working. Oh, yeah, we're in play mode. But I don't really know if I like them. They don't... Trying to figure out a way to get it to look smoother for this style of shading. I might just need to go... I don't know if that would help or how I would do that. I was going to say just go and create my own shadow mapping. But yeah, we got the basics down. Let me check to make sure it works with the other lights, and then I'll get it working for deferred mode, and then I'll see about printing it up even more. Okay, so again, I'll test it. Yeah, so it doesn't really work. Oh, I have a cookie. That shouldn't affect it though. Yeah, so it's not casting shadows. What do I need to do? It should take care of it unless there's another thing I need to do for different types of lights. Multiple shadows. The main directional light is now casting shadows, but the second... Oh, because I don't have shadow screen in the additive pass. Got a multi-compile statement to it, but shadow screen only works for directional lights. To get the correct combination of keywords, we have to change existing multi-compile statement to one that also includes shadows. This adds 4 shadow keywords. So we might as well do this ourselves because we do support all these. It's just lights, cookies, and shadows. Yeah. We should move this over here. So spotlight, shadows first. Yeah, so they're basically rendered exactly like a camera. Doesn't it have cascades or anything? Is it already... Okay, so it's already supported just with our... Just by using the light... Our Unity light attenuation function. I think I have to turn on the game to actually get this to show up. I want to rotate it so it would block out feet. It's hard to see. Okay, so it is getting shadowed, I think. I guess a better way to do it would be to put it directly to the side of the lizard and then see if it blocks shadow from the for the other objects, or blocks light for the other objects, I should say. Okay, so yeah, shadows are not working. Oh, I should have saved that position so I don't have to set it up again. Right, that's good enough. Again, when we play, yeah, they're not getting shadowed or occluded by the egg dino, which they should. I guess I'll look at the egg or the frame debugger. Did I? Maybe I even forgot to turn shadows on. Oh, I did. Okay, that was silly me. If we turn on soft shadows, I'll just use the default settings. Okay, it is working actually. Spotlights don't seem to have nearly as many artifacts, probably because they don't have cascades or anything really complicated like that. If we look at the frame debugger, you can see, oh yeah, the game mode, we have to turn that on. Yeah, so this is the shadow texture for the light. And we can see it's mostly just the egg dinos coming up. Since it's forward rendering, it has to compile once for the non-existent directional, or render once for the non-existent directional light, and then it renders again for the spotlight. Okay, so that works. Let's check point light. Oh, hey Storm, it's been a long time. How are you doing? It's working on some shadows actually. I'm doing pretty good, been getting a lot done. How have you been? You're super great. Good to hear. Alright, so I'll turn hard shadows on. Sure, I do that. Oh, I should turn off the cookie just to make things simpler. Okay, so yeah, it looks good. You can't see the light through to the other side. If I move up, there we go. It looks like I support everything now and forward rendering. Yeah, let's actually look at see what the shadow map looks like for a point light. It's going to be a cube map. Oh yeah, enable this. Oh yeah, after the game visible. So how this works, I think, is it renders once for each face. I guess it makes sure which face might actually have any mesh in front of it. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. The webcam's new, yep. I got a new mic. I'm gonna do some more stuff with my overlay pretty soon. I'm still working on that. Trying to think what else. Well, new time, obviously. But I'm still working on the same project. I know this is gonna be a very long, a long time project because it's pretty big, but I'm having fun with it. Yeah, I've done a lot to it, so. But yeah, it's still the same thing. I'll probably be working on it as well the same time next year, I bet. Yeah, the Pokemon one. Okay, so I think we're done with rendering shadows in forward mode. I want to move to deferred mode. And, okay. Deferred mode will probably be a lot different, I would expect. Anything else in here? Okay, so point light shadows we know about. Casting shadows, Unity doesn't have depth cube maps. Oh, so was the cube map not working right? We'll decompile Shadowcaster. Oh, okay, so we have to do something else if you have a shadow cube. Oh, I didn't notice anything weird, but okay. I just gotta change the Shadowcaster code to take into account a cube map. Can you see progress? Sure. Right now this is just the shader, which just controls how the graphics are rendered. I'll actually turn off shadows because they don't look too good right now. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've been working on what's called toon lighting, which has these cut-off colors. It's supposed to look like a comic book. And then in the actual game, the biggest change you'll see is I set up a terrain mesh that looks a lot better than what I used to have, because before it was basically just Minecraft. But now we have bumpiness and different elevations, and they're all joined together. And then we have, oh yeah, animated little monsters, and I can select them, move around, and they'll play a little animation to jump. Still got a ways to go, but we're finally getting to where it's sort of playable. I've been working on graphics for the last few months. Oh yeah, it won't let me jump up there for some reason. But right now I'm just working on the last final touches for yeah, the art. And then I'm gonna try to actually release a playable demo, but to do that I've got to create a bunch of menus and things, so I'm not sure how long that will take. Oh, it's amazing. Thanks, Storm. I'm glad you like it. Okay, so gotta do some more to the shadow caster. But yeah, so I gotta add this multi-compile shadow caster. Yeah, to the toon shader. And then here, we just gotta add support for the cube map. The vertex program. Oh, it's gonna be completely different if we have a cube map. Do I also put it around the vertex data? I forgot that the Shadowcaster was as complicated as this. No, not the vertex program, or not the vertex data, just the functions. Okay, and if, and I'll just copy this code because we're going to do the same. Just need to sample for cube map. Oh, I already have that. And again, it's because point lights have a cube map shadow. So this light vector, I guess it gives it to us. Oh, this is actually the yeah, the input to the the fragment program. Again, we just return 0. That doesn't seem right. Why do we need this light vector? Maybe Unity does something with it. I don't know. In the fragment function, we take the length of the light vector and add a bias to it. Then we divide that by the light's range to fit them to 0 to 1. Oh, I see. So this is shadow fragment for the cube map. Okay. By the way, finally don't know only C anymore. Oh, good. You know, Visual Basic. I just forgot all the questions I made when I didn't know about C#. Oh, no problem. Everybody goes through that. But yeah, I'm glad you found something. Yeah, I can remember being really surprised that you were learning C, because that's like one of the hardest languages I know of. So no errors. That's a good sign. But I'm wondering, like, strange, because I thought it was already working, but apparently not. Let me see. Let's look at the tune and... Oh, that's a material. I want to see the shader. And I want to see the shader variance. So this... Okay. Using scene shadows depth and cube. So that's for the shadow caster pass. Oh, yeah, COBOL. Yeah, that's another difficult one. I actually haven't used that really much at all. So that's pretty cool. I'll turn off the directional light so we can see what's going on. Oh yeah, you can see the cool shadow there when it hits the top of the... not sure why I can... or why it's getting light at this point, but Let's see, it hits the top of the capsule. Let's look. Oh, mesh. That's a shadow renderer. Maybe it just doesn't show for the other sides. I think everything is working, except there was that weird... I don't know, shadows just don't work perfectly, so I'm not gonna try to deal with them perfectly. I still don't know why... Like, it's like the... not affected by shadows when I place it right here for some reason. I wonder if I could see what's going on. You don't want to try? Yeah, that's pretty much what I've heard. It's so small. Yeah, rendering into a cube map, that's what I thought. Keyword shadows cube. So that, yeah, it runs this. I guess it won't actually show us the cube map, which is a bit of a shame. But if I look and... yeah, this is their lighting function, so that's all for shadow fading. Which I'm not going to worry about right at this instance. Yeah, so here... there's nothing special for a cube map shadow, it's just taken care of in this Unity light attenuation. Do they even need to define a sampler 3D for the cube shadow cube map or anything? Doesn't look like they ever have to deal with shadow maps. I guess that macro takes care of it. Oh, no problem, Storm. Oh, good to hear it. Is it that same girl that you were trying to... was it you're trying to learn German for, if I remember correctly? So yeah, transfer shadow. This is a little different than I have it. v.uv1. Oh, that's for the light maps. Okay, I'm not dealing with light map. I think. What is this UV1? Vertex program and vertex data. Yeah, well, yeah, it's all light map stuff, so I don't have light maps. Oh, she's the one here, lucky. Well, I'm glad that it worked out. Alright, so yeah, this is again light maps. Don't want any of that stuff. Oh, well, yeah, we're not going to use this indirect light at all, really. So the only other thing I might want to do is fade shadows. Does it have something about the cube map in here? I don't think so. Do they deal with fading shadows At this point, shadows fade away as they approach the maximum distance. Okay, so they don't actually support that here. I don't really know if it will ever be a problem for this game, but it's not that difficult to add. Yeah, so let's move on to deferred shadows for now, which is right here. Wording colors, directional lights, position. We have all that stuff. Just need to read the shadow map. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. So we need to get a shadow map texture sampler. However, we can't indiscriminately declare this variable if it's already defined for point and spotlight shadows, which we directly include, so we should not define it ourselves. So this is only if it's a directional light. Yes, this is my deferred map. There we go. She's so perfect. I'm glad that you found somebody. No, I'm single right now, but it's fine. I work too much. Shadow attenuation. Okay, so shadow screen, we wanted to sample the shadow map texture right here. That's pretty simple. I need to... Oh, that's the second pass I was trying to see. I need to put in full forward shadows right here, probably. Yeah, so on, this is... Okay. Should add shadows right here. So if shadow screen... Do I guess I just multiply the light attenuation to that? Yeah, because that's this cookie and then shadow. Yeah, because it just adds that to the color. Shadow map is not finite. Maybe I will, Storm. Yeah, so I already messed with that a little bit. Fade shadows, we have to know the distance, which they could be completely gone. Oh yeah, we don't even support shadow fading and the rest of the functions or the rest of the code yet. I'll add a note here in case I want to add that. I don't know. Okay, so we have light cookies. I need to do, yeah, spotlight shadows. Okay, I think it might be easier if I just look at this code here instead of trying to piecemeal it. Oh, you got a new PC? Wow, a 5K beast. Have you been able to stream any? I know that you wanted to before. Okay, so the shadows... What does this code do? It might just... Okay, it's just for fading, so I'm not going to worry about that. So shadows depth. Let's add this for spotlight. Yeah, I don't care about that right now. And I just need to multiply the light attenuation by the shadow. World to shadow 0. I probably need to add something up here for that. Light texture. Declare depth texture. I already did that. Okay, I don't see anything, so maybe that's just by default in here. And then shadow cube. Same type of thing, except for a cube map. If defined. Okay, so let's do elif defined point or defined point cookie. Oh, you have streamed. Good to hear. Every weekend, 5 or more hours. Wow. I'll have to come check it out sometime. So yeah, I need to add if defined point. Something new about me. Well, there has been lots of stuff going on with my family, but most of it is a bit sad, so... Okay, I don't need to do this anyway. I can just say else if shadows cube. Let's do the cookie before the shadows, because that's how I've done it every other time. Trying to think in terms of work. Well, I'm almost done with that project I was working on last year. I actually do want to stream my final balancing of it pretty soon. Yeah, definitely a happy day. Thank you, Storm. It's alright though, but yeah. It's been a very busy start of the year, that's what I'll say. Shadows, depth. Yeah, that's for spotlights, and then for point lights, we just sample the cube map. Okay, so do I have this already, the light vector? Okay, yeah, right there. World to light. I guess I don't need to define that. Okay, so now in theory we have all light or shadows taken care of for each light type. And in the deferred I need to add full forward shadows, I think. We should just look and see what they use here. Let's see, compile light pass. This might have more than I actually want to support. For instance, for light maps and things like that. Disable that and look at the toon shader. Show. Thank you, Storm, yes. I think it's not showing. That is nice of you to say. But yeah, I think that my new compile modes aren't showing up because I don't have the camera in deferred mode. Once I do that... Soft shadow screen, cube. Okay, well I don't see anything that I don't want to support here. Maybe it doesn't add. I thought that it might add a lot of stuff for light maps and those type of lighting, but I don't want to actually support that right now. So if I turn shadows back on here, it does not work. This is a deferred mode, right? Yes. Okay. And the yeah, the deferred lights, and then this should be directional. Oh, I didn't add the shadow code for directional light. I just did a cookie. Okay. Let's look back here. Yeah, the shadow screen. I think I put it at the end, but shadow screen only ever happens for a directional light. Let me see. So yeah, I'll do cookie first and then shadow. Maybe I don't know. That should have still worked, but don't care about that. And then this is just light attenuation multiplied by the shadow map texture. Let's look again. Do I use a lot of DLLs? Not in this game, although that's only because I'm trying to write a whole lot of stuff myself just as a learning experience. But like the Lua compiler I use does come in a DLL form, so I could use that, but they actually provided the source code, so there's really no reason. I have used DLLs in the past, of course. Yeah, so I forgot to turn off this point light. Maybe it doesn't work because it starts with no shadows. That'd be a shame, though. Nope, still not showing up. At the very least, the foot shouldn't be lit under shadows. Let me look here. So deferred lighting. Okay, so it does do the shadow map. This still looks oh no. It has a different render buffers that you'd use for deferred mode. There, it's got depth. Okay, now it's doing the lights. Does it do... Seems like it collects shadows after it renders lights, though. That doesn't make any sense. Oh no, here it is. That's where it actually does the light renderer. So it's just directional. It doesn't have shadow screen. Why not? Light as quad. Yeah, there's the debuffers. Doesn't actually pass the shadow map either. Do I have shadows turned off or something for deferred mode? Do I know how to program in Visual Basic? I do, although I've never actually programmed much in it. It's a good little program, or a good little language. That back up to high. Oh, so am I doing something wrong? Does the shadow? No, the shadowcaster does still work because I saw it in the frame debuffer, but it seems like our deferred light shader isn't getting the shadow. Maybe I need to add some other little tag here or something. Let's look. No, it looks like it's fine. Oh, do I not pass this UV through to it? That might have been the issue. Although I'm surprised it didn't give me an error. Yeah, so I don't actually pass the UV. Okay, so this would be float 2 UV. What's the other thing it needs there? The view. Where's that used? Oh, it's for shadow fading, so I'll leave that out. But that shouldn't have caused an issue because, like, it's because for some reason it's not getting the shadow screen variable defined, so it's not even compiling with that code. Oop, I put that in the wrong spot. Should go right here. Is C# almost the same? It's pretty similar, but Visual Basic, what I remember, the syntax. Oh, now shadows work. What? Okay, well, it must have not compiled because there was an error in that variant, but it just didn't tell me. That's kind of annoying. But anyway, like I was saying, is C# almost the same? Well, the syntax is different, obviously. What I remember, Visual Basic syntax is a little simpler, but it's really almost as powerful as C#, so... Alright, so now we've got shadows. We can see them plainly here and on this foot. And if I change this camera back and forth between forward and deferred, it should look the same. If I turn shadows off this light... Okay, there we go. So now let's turn the directional light off and check the spotlight. I maybe just can't see it. Yeah, because deferred mode won't play, or won't display here. Okay, so I can't see it, but obviously you can only see the light here because it gets the shadowed by the egg dino. And if I turn off shadows, okay, so you can see it, so that's working. I guess let's make sure that looks the same in forward mode. And finally, we'll try the point light. Looks good, and turn off shadows. See it on the feet there. I should have it soft, actually. And if I switch to forward mode, it should look the same. And we're good. We've got shadows and deferred. And just in time too, because I need to wrap this up. What's syntax? Syntax is like, trying to figure out the way to explain it. I guess kind of like the grammar of a programming language. Like you get a syntax error if you forget a semicolon. It's kind of just the way that the compiler expects you to write a program, and if you don't follow that, then it won't know what to do. Alright. But I guess, yeah, I need to wrap it up because I want to go get something to eat. So I might wrap up this shader and we'll start something else tomorrow, because really we just need to tie in some of the customization options into the modding system. Oh, well, we do need to update the terrain shader. Okay, so we'll probably do that tomorrow. That won't be that difficult, but... And then we need to... I need to look into this gamma space. And I don't know if I'll do shadow fading. That might be put off until later, because I don't know if it'll even ever be noticeable in this game. What else? But after this, we'll just kind of fine-tune Egg Dino, mess around with some of the ramps to get something that actually looks good. And then I think I'll move on to terrain and kind of update this. Oh, I have a reminder there, so I guess it doesn't matter if it's in both places. I want to try and get a good looking dirt, stone, and grass texture. And after that, I'll probably try to make the game playable and we'll go from there. Oh, so in Visual Basic it's like message box, and in C# it would be like pop-up box. Yeah, kind of like that. That's more like the actual function names. I'm trying to think of a easier... Like I haven't used Visual Basic enough to be able to pinpoint a difference, but that is a general idea. But yeah, I think I better wrap this up. But yeah, it's been really great to talk to you again, Storm. I hope you'll be able to make it more often, and I'll try to come into one of your streams this weekend. But yeah, thanks everybody again for coming by and watching. I really appreciate it. If you want to be notified when I become live next, which at the latest will be tomorrow at 12 of our noon Eastern, feel free to follow me here on Twitch or on my Twitter. I always try to post notifications there. And I also have a YouTube where I upload all my past videos if you want to catch up, and a Discord. We'd love to chat with you there throughout the day. And I'll put links in chat and also on my video description so you can check either of those places. And yeah, I guess now I'm gonna go get something to eat. But I hope you all have a great day. All right. Bye, Storm. Yeah, you have a great day too. All right. See you later.